Welcome, everyone. Clearly, we are live. We are live on Fanbase, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. This beautiful day, we're talking about comparisons between ourselves and others. See, even though there's just one consciousness in the world, we do have many faces, many cultures, and such. You know, we have male and female. But we tend to compare ourselves to other people. When we say, oh, this person is ahead of me, or I'm this age, I should be ahead, I should be this, compared to them, I should be. Listen, the way to frustrate yourself, the surest way to frustrate yourself is to compare yourself with someone else. Do not compare yourself. Listen, I know. I got 3 sisters. I understand comparison. I just genuinely do. But everyone, even though there's one power that runs us all, right? We have our individual expressions. Even if you have identical twins, of which I'm also very familiar with. My daddy is an identical twin. Even with them, if you observe them, they're different. They have the exact same face, the same tone of voice, like really and truly the same tone of when you answer the phone. You're like, okay, who's on the other end? Because they sound exactly the same. I know my daddy's voice though, but they sound the same, exactly the same, look the same. They don't walk the same, almost. You just have to know what you're looking for. But they have different interpretations of life, right? They're not the same. Even though they may look it, they're not. So when we are tempted to compare ourselves to other people, talking about, well, according to my age, blah, 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 I should have this career, I should have this amount of money, I should blah, 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 blah. You're busy comparing yourself to someone else. What is it that you want to do based upon you? That's where we put our focus on you, as opposed to you in comparison to someone else. Because what that does, it opens the door for things like guilt. It opens the door for things like shame. It opens the door for things like inadequate, right? It makes you feel bad. But the funny thing is, how you feel about yourself is how you will behave in the world. So comparing yourself to someone else is much more far reaching than you think it is. There's nothing worse, listen, feeling ashamed of yourself because you're somehow, quote unquote, behind the 8 ball. You don't just have to get over being behind the 8 ball. You now have to get over the shame of it. This is what happens when you compare yourself. Well, who's the magic owner of this 8 ball that says you're behind it? It is so unnecessary what we do to ourselves, but I comprehend why we would. I understand why you would. So let today be the day you say, wait a minute, how do I want to show up in the world? Who do I want to be in this world? And the thing is, there's only There's your unique individualized expression, meaning it doesn't matter how much you want to compare yourself, you will never be like the person you're comparing yourself to, and they will never be like you because they are unique and they have their own expression and they are required to express it. You can't just say, oh, but I wish I were more like. If you're looking for a particular characteristic, more confidence, that's different. Anybody can acquire confidence. But what you don't do is compare your level of confidence to someone else's. If you want more confidence, then assume you have it. But don't want more confidence because you think, but now my life will be better just like theirs. No. That's the surest way to set yourself back. Now, let's look at this in a bigger picture. If you are busy comparing yourself, remember, as within, so without, now you will start to compare others. Why can't you be more like this? Why can't you be more like that? Why can't you be more like them? I'm sure we've all heard it at some point in our lives, and it didn't make any of us feel good about ourselves in the least bit. It also goes for your quote unquote spirituality. Yes, it is far reaching. Oh, but this person is much more advanced than I am. Oh, look at what they can do. Well, I want to do that too. Ah, if you do what they do, who's going to do what you do? Hmm? Who is going to do what you're supposed to be doing? You are unique in your expression. Take pride in that. But Angela, pride comes before a fall. Pride just means you are pleased with what you have been given as your gifts and talents. You say, yeah, that's mine. I was given that. You know what? I'm going to hone it and shape it and mold it, and I'm going to be the best at it. That's pride. Hmm? Don't mistake arrogance. Well, I'm better than you. Of course, I'm better than you. You think you're all that. What have you accomplished in your life? I could totally crush you. Yeah, you think you want to be somebody? See? Arrogance is vile. Everyone has their own beauty to celebrate. Because if you think about it, remember correspondence, the law of correspondence, as within, so without. Within is above, without is below. When you say, oh, I'm better than you, you're a loser. When you start talking to people like that, who's holding it? You are. So who'll get to experience it? You will. Yes, that's what's happening. Well, why? Because you're the one carrying it. Listen, today, if you're feeling discouraged about something, remember the process of changing. If you were in a particular situation, you can clearly see you don't want to be in it, which means you should be able to clearly see what you would prefer instead. Well, then move up to Jerusalem. Jerusalem. You remember the lecture? It means turn yourself in the direction of your objective. That's what it is. As I've told you millions of times, one does not need to be happy 24/7, 365, 66 if you're in a leap year. You don't need to be happy all the time. There is an ebb and there is a flow. There will be times when you're yay and times when you're yay. Like the ebb and flow. It is natural. Right? But the one thing we must sustain is our knowledge and application of the principles. You stay anchored in that, you can see your way through anything. So if you're in a position today where you're feeling kind of low or downcast because you're struggling with a situation, you can see the situation. You can say what it is. Okay, if you can say what it is, now you should be able to see what you would like it to become instead. That is step one. Step two, well, experience in imagination what you would experience in reality. What would you do naturally? That's step two. Step three, do it as you're falling asleep. Do it as soon as you wake up. And if you feel a little bit discouraged during the day, do it right there as well. Now, the reason I said that is because if you can see where you are stumbling, well, you can fix it. Are you in this in step one where you say, well, I'm not really sure what I want? I don't know. Well, take the time to become clear about what you want. Without that clarity of what you want, there's no image to recreate. Thereby, you remain in your frustration. So look at where you are frustrated today. Look at where the hurt is today. See, is it in step one? You don't know how you want it to change. You see what you're doing right there? If you say, well, I want to change, but I don't know how, look at where you are right here, right now. That will tell you. If step one is, I'm really lonely and I just need something to change. I'm so lonely. What would you like to change? Well, you're lonely. Look at loneliness. What does it mean? Perhaps you're feeling isolated. You don't have any friends. Now, can you answer the question? What would you prefer instead of loneliness? You see, what we tend to do in that space in step one, when we decide what we want, we tend to either compare or rationalize, right? How is that going to happen? How is that going to be possible? The moment you can see it clearly, you've just made it possible. The moment you've seen it, you've just made it possible. Well, you've seen it in your mind's eye. Now you can recreate it. But you see, in step one, we want to figure out how. We rationalize. You do not rationalize. Yeah, but I don't know if that's possible. Yeah, but I've tried it before. Yeah, but you're trying to make me deny my humanity. Yeah, you're trying to make me not feel. Hello, what now? No, I'm saying to you, be clear about what it is you want to experience. And once you are clear about what you want to experience, a natural feeling arises. It is inevitable. That natural feeling arises all on its own because it must correspond with the thought. So you have that thought, oh, look, here comes a corresponding feeling. But the moment you start to rationalize or compare yourself to somebody else and feel guilty or ashamed, You're pouring dirt on the fire that you're just trying to stoke. So don't rationalize. Move on to step 2. What would you do if step 1 was fulfilled? What would you do? How would you behave? See that part? Start to see that part in your mind's eye. But where sometimes we get hung up is we don't know how we would behave. Or if we do know how we would behave, we don't want to be judged for behaving that way. Well, I don't know if that's even right. Should I even want that? Is that going to bring me any happiness? Without faith, it is impossible to please God. Step 2 is an act of faith. Oh, it's a what now? An act of faith. How so? Because in step 2, you begin to experience in imagination what you would experience in reality. You're beginning to act it out in your mind's eye, and you what? Have the faith that you acted out, it will show up in the outside world for you to do it. That's step 2. But do you see where we get hung up on step 2? Yeah, but what if they laugh at me? What if I make all these changes and they still don't love me? I don't even know if this is possible. So instead of experiencing in imagination what you would experience in reality, what are you doing? You are experiencing in imagination what you do not want to experience. But because imagination is impartial, what's that mean? It means wherever you put your attention is where you want to be. It's taking its cue from you. So if you keep saying or imagining the other side of things that you don't want, and when do we do it most? In step 3. Remember, ready for bed. And because that's what you took into your sleep, you wake up with it. See how we thwart ourselves? If you know the process, here's what I want. How do I know what I want? Because I'm looking at what I don't want. And when I can see what I don't want, clearly what I want is defined. Why? Because problem and solution travel together. Problem and solution travel together. They're buddies. They're always listen, they're joined at the hip. Right? Because this is the part I'm trying to show you. When you see what's got you disgruntled, right there you can see now what would bring the relief. Do you see how our success is always guaranteed if we would but move on to step 2 right away as soon as you see it? But we delay ourselves with the complaining. We delay ourselves with the, when I feel bad about myself. I know. I get it. I get it. But to move past feeling bad about yourself, allow yourself to experience in imagination what you would experience in reality, because it will bring the relief. Naturally, that's what happens. And once you do that part, well, naturally, we rest and we remember the day. So which part of the day do you want to remember? The part you experienced in imagination. The best one, the deliberate one. So if you go through the process step by step each time, You will begin to see where you are stumbling, and you will know how to correct it. If you're struggling with, I don't know what I want, well, then what do you need? Clarity. Spend time in silence until the clarity is there. What is the clarity? It just means you're more sure of what it is you would like to experience instead. Because with clarity in step one, you're more bold in step two to begin to experience in imagination what you would experience in reality. See? And if you start with the, yeah, but what are you doing? Now you can clearly see that's what I'm doing. Oh my goodness, I am throwing water on this fire before I even get started. And then what will you do to correct it? You'll refocus yourself and go, okay, I just got to get clear about how I would react in real life if this thing actually happened. What would I do? And you start to play through all of the scenarios that you would. And you take one in to sleep with you. But you see, we have this problem with the threesome. Oh, yeah. This relationship is between you and what you want. But you're bringing along a third party. Who's that third party? I don't know if I can do this. Yeah, but what if I fail? Yeah, but what if they laugh at me? Well, there's your third party. Two's company, but three's a crowd. Hey. Three's a crowd. Don't take that in there with you. That's leave that outside. If you follow the process, the pattern, if you deliberately follow the pattern, you will see where you are faltering and you will see how to fix it. And you will see what you're doing to yourself when you compare yourself to others. Clear as day, you'll see it.
Compare and despair.
Say it again, Ali. I didn't hear you.
For the people in the back, it's compare and despair.
Exactly. Exactly. Here's why. Comparison is like a magnifying glass. You are magnifying all of your insecurities. And when you magnify your insecurities, exactly what she said, you begin to despair. You see, you think when you're comparing yourself to someone else, you're looking at them. You're not. You're looking at your own quote unquote insecurities, inabilities, inadequacies. You're looking at you. And when you look at yourself in that fashion, as within, so without. So this is why when you compare, you despair because you're looking at your inadequacies and they're in your face and they're magnified. And then bam, you're like, oh my God, I feel so bad. Why do I even try? Listen, put away the magnifying glass because that's your problem. If you remember, if you seek, you will find, right? So if you go looking for your problems and your inadequacies, you're going to find them. And they're like ants at a picnic. You'll find them. And it's not what you want. So instead of looking for your inadequacies, well, look for your strong points. What's the difference? You're going to seek and you'll find anyway. So seek better. This is how you free yourself. Well, oh, but Angela, I don't even think I have any good qualities. How long did you spend looking for these good qualities? Oh, 30 seconds in comparison to what? The 20 years you've been looking at your inadequacies? That's my point. We take so much time and effort to look for our shortcomings and our inadequacies. But the moment I say, look for your good qualities, I can't see it. You know the way children look for things? It's right in front of their face. I can't see it. And you walk by, you put your hand on it, and you go, here it is. That's what we're doing. We're trying to, I'm telling you, look for your good qualities. I can't see it. Look a little harder. Spend some time looking. Because if you look for the inadequacies, you will find them also. So today, my beautiful friends, stop comparing yourself to others and put your focus on step 1, 2, and 3. And the beautiful thing is, it's just that somebody observed. Somebody spent their time to observe what we do as our quote unquote nature, our pattern. And because they observed, they could tell you what the steps are. Who observed? I don't know. But I'm telling you, somebody observed. If you pay attention, you'll see exactly how we behave. So if you can see exactly how we behave, be deliberate and choose, because you already know how you're going to behave in a particular situation. It has a pattern. Insecurity behaves like people pleasing. Well, you want to keep them. You want to keep your friends. So you'll do what you want to do what you must do. You'll compromise because you don't want to be alone. So that insecurity is stemming from where, perhaps? Abandonment, rejection. Everything has a pattern in the way it unfolds. That's why Neville Goddard says to you, you don't even need to lift a finger. Walk around with your insecurities, and your life will unfold the only way that insecurities can. Are you lifting a finger? Nope. You're just walking in a state of insecurity and encountering all the things that go with that. It will bend you and shape you to match. But here's the cool thing. Walk around with confidence, and you will bend and shape to match the confidence. So this is why he says creation is done. That's why he says it. Because you don't have to make it happen. You just have to select. Choose. So when you are in step 1, 2, and 3, you put yourself in those steps by a choice. And you will do step 2 based upon what step 1 is. When you know what you want, you begin to see it naturally. For real, for real. Look at where you interrupt the flow of naturalness. We interrupt the flow of naturalness by interjecting what? Doubt, opinion, comparison. But what did you realize in the interruption? That it was happening naturally. You were naturally beginning to experience in imagination what you would experience in reality. You were naturally doing it until you decided to interject. Interject what? All your fears and your doubts and your worries. And because you interjected that fear, doubt, and worry, what are you experiencing in imagination? Fear, doubt, and worry. Do you see? Are you seeing the naturalness of it now? When Neville says it takes on the tones of reality, when it feels natural to you, it will always feel natural to you. Because it can only feel natural. So step 1, something happens before step 1. A desire arises. Listen, step 1 is an effect. It's the part we take for granted. Right? When we're going through the steps. Why are we going through the steps? Because there is a desire that arose. That's why. Something is causing you to go to step one. What do you want? So when you compare yourself to someone else, the desire, look at the desire that's there. It happened naturally. It arose naturally. But you interjected yourself in the mix to say, oh, but I don't know. What if I can't? Watch it next time. Pay attention. And you'll begin to see when the desire arises. And you will see how you respond to that desire. You will either, you can only respond to the desire by going right into step one. What do you want? It is the desire is presented. What do you want? But the desire arises. Why? You're looking at a chain of events, cause and effect. The desire arises, but why? Because something prodded you. I don't like that. And then there's the desire naturally. And then you say, I don't like that. Here comes the desire. That's what I would like instead. And then, oh, yes, this is how I would like it. You begin to experience in imagination what you would experience in reality. And you see it throughout the day. You see it as you fall asleep. You see it when you wake up. Begin to pay attention to the chain of events. Some people want to be fancy and call it, well, I know what triggered me. But they don't ask why it triggered them. It triggered you, but why? Don't you want to know why it triggered you? Because if you see why it triggers you, now you will allow your step one to naturally appear so that this trigger can, be done away with. But instead of looking at it for what it is, we become emotionally involved in it. And then we get lost in the fray. Because you are triggered by something, it does not mean you are supposed to react to it. Examine it. It triggered you. Why? There's something within you that caused that thing to trigger you. What is that that's inside of you? What are you walking around with? And do you want to walk around with it anymore? So you see, use the trigger to help you change. Don't use the trigger to beat yourself and others with. Right? So comparison, if comparison is a trigger for you, you're beating yourself and you're beating someone else. Look at them. I can't stand them. They think they're so cool. You are beating yourself. You're beating yourself and thinking you're inflicting it on the other person that you don't like. Fancy that, eh? But if you stop when the trigger is there and say, whoa, wait a minute, hello, what we got here? Oh, you know what? I've had you for a long time. I think it's time to upgrade. You see, because now the desire is naturally there to replace that trigger. But if you are busy fighting with the trigger, you miss the desire. So when the trigger comes up, you're like, oh, look at you. Oh, You've been there this whole time. And then the natural replacement for it comes up. And you then, once you accept what the replacement is, you begin to see it in your mind's eye. You begin to experience in imagination what you would experience in reality. But then you got to make sure you're not interjecting yourself in there to say, well, I tried. I've been doing this for years and ain't nothing working. What have you been doing for years? Have you been smothering your own desire? He's telling you, check yourself. What have you been doing for years? In that one step, what have you been doing? Smothering your desire. So you get it, you smother, you get it, you smother, but the desire doesn't go away. It's like whack-a-mole. It just keeps coming up. And you keep smacking it back down. And then nothing is changing in my life. Because you are interjecting in the natural process. And what are you interjecting in there? Your fear and your worry. So catch yourself. Catch yourself right where you are right now. What are you doing? You know you want to change. You know what you want to change into, but you're scared. You're worried. You're upset. All of those things are blocking you. So you've got to get the attitude that says, hey, stop turning off your own water. What am I doing here in step 2? I'm supposed to be experiencing in imagination what I would experience in reality. That's where my focus is. That's where I'm redirecting myself. That's how you talk to yourself. You say, hey, do you see where you should be? Because right now, that's not where you'll be looking at. We way over here. Then we should be way over here. And you pull yourself right back to where you should be. And you begin to experience in imagination what you would experience in reality over and over again. Because it feels natural to you to do it in that particular fashion. I'm just trying to show us what we do on a daily basis. You know, I would really love that, but see that but? It's a block. And you're putting cement on it. And by the time you're done with all the buts, you've built a wall in front of your desire. With all of the excuses. Listen, I have a PhD in excuses, so I know. I am well aware. So when you catch the excuses, remind yourself, these excuses are what I'm imagining. These excuses are what I am experiencing in imagination right now. I don't want this to happen in my reality. Catch what you're doing and make yourself, not in a forceful way. You're not forcing yourself. The way you make yourself come back to what you want to imagine is to see what you're doing. See that you are the one building the wall in front of your desire. And you say, oh, girl, what you doing? You blocking out your own desire. That's not how we do things. Let me show you how we do it. This is how I do. Anyway, I don't need Montiel coming from me. But you hear what I'm saying. Show yourself how you do things. Show yourself, this is what we are imagining right now. And as soon as you begin to immerse yourself in it, you will have a natural, emotional thrill. Those are Neville's words from last night. He said, create it in your mind's eye, and you will feel a natural, emotional thrill. Naturally, you'll get that thrill of emotion that says, ooh, that looks nice. Yes, tell me more. This is what I want to experience in my reality. And you get more detailed in your imagination. Yes, like this. Ooh, and we'll sprinkle a little bit of this color over here. Yes, like that. Mhm. And then when you're done with the picture, you step back and you say, well, dang, that is lovely, isn't it? I built a beautiful picture. And what will keep you looking at that picture? The fact that you say, ooh, I built a beautiful picture. Yes, I did. And this is the part where God said, oh, what I made was good. And so because what he made was good, what did he do? Took a break. Oh, Lord, we're in the Sabbath. And what do you do in the Sabbath? Chillax. You rest. What are you resting doing? Admiring your handiwork that you just made in your imagination. That's what you're doing. And you're so pleased with it. You're like, this is nice. And it's done right there in your imagination. What you've just created in your imagination, what you're going to allow to happen in your reality. Sounds like somebody's got to practice. Wonder who that would be. Do you see what we practice every day? All you're doing when you practice is doing what? Making that image as beautiful as possible. That's why good, bad, or indifferent, as the creator of that image in your mind's eye, your work is always beautiful. That you could be looking at the ugliest thing, the jealousy, the rage, the anger, the frustration. You could be looking at all of that and you're chiseling away, chiseling away. Oh, look at my baby, ain't it beautiful? And you're like, uh, yeah, it is. See how we lie to ourselves? Because the only thing we can do is to feel good about what we create in our imaginations. That's the natural way to do it. You feel good about what you create. This is why when you are in your imagination and you're cussing somebody out, that shit feels so good. Because you can only ever do good work. That's why when you cuss somebody out, whew, it feels good. Oh yes. That's why we hold on to the anger that we've got, because it feels good. Don't get it twisted. But then in that thing that feels good, now you get to apply your critical thinking skills to say, whoa, what am I looking at here? How am I lying to myself? That will not do. Come on, Angela. Jealousy, really? Everybody has the same potential. The difference between her and I is she's spending more time creating in her imagination. How about I do that and stop complaining that she's better than me? Mm, I'm just, I'm just saying. I'm just showing you this is what we do. And then we sit there and we try to justify my. I'm sorry. This is what we sit there and try and fool ourselves. But you cannot mock God. Why not? Because what you experience in imagination is what you will experience in reality. And then what happens? Well, why did that happen to me? You already know why. Because you entertained it. You experienced it in imagination. That is why it's happening. No other reason. Oh, really? Well, I would never do that to myself. Oh, them is fighting words. You better take that back. I'd never do that to myself. Meanwhile, meanwhile, we are doing what? Experiencing in imagination what we don't want to experience in reality. So, what are you going to do now? You're going to make it your business that if you are going to entertain something, it better be worthy. It better be noble. It better be beautiful. Oh, yes. And if it's not, well, then let's revise. Mm-hmm. So, anywho, I thought I would share that with you today because, well, I can clearly see what we're doing. And how do I know what we're doing? The nature of man. The nature of man. Yes, Ali, problems and solutions travel together. And the only reason why we don't see the solution is because we are too busy looking at the problem. Well, if the problem is not enough clientele, what's the solution? More clientele. Clear, obviously. But you see, right in the middle there, what are we trying to do? How do I get more clientele? That's what we're doing. That's why we can't see the clientele, because we're busy trying to figure out how. No, you cannot figure out how because there's too many possibilities. So you select one. What is that one possibility? Clientele. So you, in your imagination, you experience having. So what kind of clientele do you want? You don't know. Do you want lots? Do you want a few? You want a wait list? Select from that, because one of those three things will tell you you have more clientele. So begin to experience in imagination more clientele, and overflow of clientele with a wait list, or just manageable clientele. But we want to say, well, I don't know how. Do I have to do more marketing? Do I have to buy ads? Do I have to do this? I don't know what you have to do, but I do know if you get in there and say, ooh, this clientele. All you can see are clientele raining down on you, and you're like, oh my God, my umbrella can't hold up. It can't manage. If that's what you can see in your imagination, well, then that's what you will experience in reality. But what to do is going to be in the window for you. You will know what to do, because what to do is determined by what you experience in imagination. Grasp that. What to do is determined the moment you select what you are experiencing in imagination. You won't have a choice. Just like if you are walking around in the mood of crankiness, Captain Cranky Pants, if that's what you're walking around in the mood of, I wonder what will happen. The only thing that can happen, you will encounter all the things that reinforce how cranky you are. Oh my God, I can't catch a green light. Oh my God, I'm last in line. And you're in a hurry, right? I trust it makes sense. I trust that it makes sense, so that we can really pay attention. And it's not. Let us take a brief moment, shall we, to welcome everyone into the space today. We all know that Little Bit is in the house. We all know he is here. He has made himself known already so early in the morning. I know, right? He's made himself early known. Is what I say? Chaylee, is that how I'm saying it? Because, child, please don't tell me that the C is silent. Because CH is chill, okay? But I gotta make room for creativity. So I'm looking at Chaylee. Hey, Malik. The better man. Aries 777, I see you. Miss Marjorie. Hello, darling. See, and Aries 777 is all the way from Twitter. Hello, Cyber. And for the others who've not made themselves known on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, I see you. Who's kicking it with us in fan base today? Happy. I haven't said your name in a long time. It's good to see you, sweetie. Renee Rose, darling, I see you. Ali. Hey, Matthias. Howdy, stranger KZ. Oracle Treehouse. Flo smiles. Joaquin, hey, Miss Fawn. I see you all. Thank you all for being here. I trust that as you go through the day today, you will recognize what you are doing as you move through step 1, 2, and 3. Hey, we move through step 1, 2, and 3 naturally. No force required. Do you know what you want? And if you know what you want, are you trying to talk yourself out of it? Oh. Or are you eager to get to step 2 to say, let me experience in imagination what I would love to experience in reality? And do you get in there as long as you can and paint the most beautiful picture that you can? Where's Moon today? Because Moon reminded us to be detailed. Well, he's an artist. So when you're detailed, you want to catch the light just right. You want to get that shade of pink just right. That's where you take the time. Because when you take the time to put that beautiful picture together and you step back and you look at it and you go, yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Ooh. And you can say, not just quite. Let me touch it up here a little bit. And then you step back and you go, yeah, that's it. Yes. Because now when you look at it in imagination, when you get the full picture in imagination, you're at the easel and you've got your either your charcoals or your oil paints. You know, like the guy with the big curly hair and he's painting that you see on PBS. Remember him? Yeah, that's you. And you're in your imagination and you're at the easel and you're painting the picture. Now, when you step back and it has all of the details that you want, it's going to make you feel a particular way as you step back and gaze upon its beauty. And when you gaze upon that beauty and you are satisfied with it, you don't have to tweak it anymore. You say, oh, yeah. That's beautiful. And what do? You pull up on the chaise and you sip your tea. And because tea signifies what? Ain't nothing that a spot of tea can't fix, right? Tea makes everything so much more beautiful. And what do? You lean back and do what? Admire your work. That is the Sabbath. There's nothing more to be done other than to simply admire your handiwork. And you are admiring your handiwork. The more you admire your handiwork within, the womb that you put it into, imagination is also the womb. Don't get it twisted. The womb that you put it into will do what for you? Knit all of the pieces together. What does scripture say? I knit you in your mother's womb. When nobody could see what was happening in the womb, right? But rest assured, there's something happening in there. All of the necessary components. If you need 1,000 people to help you, they're being knit together in the womb and they come. I trust today that analogy has helped you, because as I am sitting here, it helped me. Believe you me when I tell you, I knew we were talking about comparison this morning, but somebody had other plans. I wonder who that was. And here we are with an analogy that helped me. So I know if it helped me, as within, so without. See? So the next time you think you want to become disgruntled about nothing is changing in my life because you got the wrong piece of artwork hanging up. So revise. How do you revise? Throw some white paint on there and start all over again. Paint your picture and paint it with as much detail as you can. And then the only natural thing, yes, paint it with as much detail as you can. And then the only natural thing that you will be left to do is to admire your handiwork. And when you are admiring your handiwork, what are you doing? You are experiencing in imagination what you would experience in reality. You're just so enamored with the work that you've done. You're like, oh my God. I am like so amazing. My artwork is awesome. And you can't, listen, you can't pry your eyes away. And you know that you're so busy not being able to pry your eyes away that you forget to think about time. You see, you forget to think about time. You're not consumed with time. You are enraptured by the beauty of what you just created. And what happens the longer you are enraptured with it? Yeah, exactly. Then you say like, oh my God, that's my manifestation. That's my harvest. Anywho, don't let me keep you. Let me get the bowl because we got bird song. Eager bird song. So today, as you hear the bowl and bird song, you are an artist. Begin to paint or draw or sketch or build paper mache, whatever your nuances, whatever tickles your fancy, but begin to put it together. And you see how excited you get? Naturally, you see that emotional thrill? You see how you get that? Naturally? Let that keep you. Let it keep you focused on the work that you're doing. Now is a good time for the bowl. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I trust that that was helpful. I trust that it was, and that you will apply it. If you find that you are still struggling a little bit, slide into my DMs and we'll walk through it. What are you not going to do in my DMs? You're not going to tell me what the problem is. You're going to tell me the solution. What is it that you want? We don't have time to keep repainting the same old picture. Right? So if you need a little bit extra help, if you think you do, I don't think you do, but if you think you do, let me know. Check out my LINKTREE. Make sure and subscribe to my website. That way you'll get these ever cool and fun blogs. What else is there? That's it. And of course tonight, 10:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll do part 2. Last night was what? I forget, but I remember. I forgot the title. But I think tonight is He Stirs in Me. It's a 3-part series. Oh, absolutely amazing. But anyhow, I love you. And I look forward to hearing from you. And as I said, if you want to be part of the testimony time, feel free to let me know. And we'll do that. We'll do that coming up here pretty quick. Right? All right, y'all. I'm going to catch y'all later. I'm going to close everybody down today. Hey, Miss Crenshaw. Kay. Oh, Miss McQueen. It's good to see you all here. It's great to see you all here on Fanbase. Let me just make sure.
Angela,
Yes.
can I get 5 minutes with you after this? Just me and you privately.
I will open a private room as soon as I close everybody out. Yes, I shall.
Thank you.
No worries. I'm going to pop into the chat just to make sure. There you go. The chat was pretty quiet today. That's a good thing, I think. Right? If that's it, I will catch y'all later. Remember the process. Remember the process and follow through. Okay? You're a master artist, and all you ever do is create beautiful things and sit back and enjoy the beauty of them. You know I love you. Okay? Peace out, everybody. And a little bit, he might be quiet right now, but he's telling y'all to have a good day, too. I got to go open that door and let him out. All right. Love you guys.